The term innovation still evokes a male or masculine set of connotations. And it's worth pointing out, not everyone might realize this, that the co-founding, that a woman and a man co-founded Bioneers, and Bioneers being a take on, which is coining a new term from pioneers, so that innovation is at the heart of the idea, and it is brought forward and sustained and stewarded over 30 years by a relationship. So all of this seems quite meaningful in terms of what was in the seed of Bioneers 30 years ago, and how it was able to become a space for innovations that were values-based, because it itself was that. And then comes relational intelligence, relational development. You use the term relational mindfulness. So the relational as itself, or as a doorway into cultural innovation. And that you have been able to bring together the social and the cultural in how you've been an innovator. And perhaps technology as well. I'm less clear about how technology, but you did mention biomimicry. And I know I have attended sessions at Bioneers that clearly show the technological part of what you've been up to. So could you speak about how the social, cultural, and technological dimensions of innovation have come together for you in terms of your work as a social and generative entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, I really want to appreciate your naming the core of relationship that Bioneers has grown out of. And also to say that, frankly, as a woman, I don't believe that I began Bioneers as a wholly equal partner, or I certainly didn't see myself that way. And it took a lot of persevering time and effort to grow myself into being a fully co-equal partner. I think other people saw me that way well before I saw myself that way. So it's one of the things that I've come to understand as I've worked with women in leadership, is that we have inherited so many self-limiting ideas about what our capacities are, that it's really important for us to be continually sort of self-reflecting and shedding that which we have inherited from culture, and I'm certain this is true for men as well, which are no longer serving us, because there's so much, both about gender identities and about leadership and all of that. I think what's been true for me is that from very early on, Bioneers has known that it's not only Kenny and I that program it, we work in a very much of a team-based model. And we have known that we have many different constituencies to serve. So, we literally program for 13 different domains. And what's been exciting over the last couple of years has really been learning how to use social media and online communications much better to help spread the ideas and the visions and the talks and the media from Bioneers to much wider audiences. But I think what's been exciting to me has been recognizing that one of my favorite quotes that I refer to inwardly all the time comes from Fritjof Capra, who you may know, who's an Austrian physicist and ecologist, and he says the key to an eco-literate society involves a shift from prioritizing counting things to mapping relationship. And we have precious little practice or training in how to map and then cultivate and deepen relationship. And in many ways, you know, what I am seeing as one of the greatest challenges of this time is creating connective tissue among fields that have seen themselves as disparate or have been falsely separated, but are in fact completely connected. So when we first started Bioneers, we thought, well, surely the people working on river restoration and oceans will know each other and they'll be connected. And only to discover, no, in fact, they're in completely segregated fields, and that part of the power of convening in a way that creates connection is to help those leaders to connect among each other. And because, you know, they say that the surest way to strengthen an ecosystem is to connect it to more of itself. And I feel like what Bioneers has taught me over time is that we cannot address ecological repair without addressing social equity at the same time. We can't reinvent education without also addressing economics and governance. That really, you know, and green design and industrial design, all of these things, that in fact they're all manifestations of a worldview in a sense. And because we are in a time that involves a paradigm shift from a worldview that has atomized and segregated things to a worldview that can work for the good of the whole, you know, it's a practice, I think, for innovators and leaders of a certain quality of perpetual self-reflection and perpetual discernment to say, is this something I'm doing by habit? Or is this a habit that I need to question because it may be creating more harm than good? It may not be the best approach for the outcome that I most want to achieve. So I think part of the paradigm shift, if you will, that we're in involves a shift from a focus on goals and outcomes and products to recognizing that the process and how we get there and the relationships that are involved have at least equal value to our final outcomes, and that they contribute in an inextricable way to what we finally produce.